планы и путешествия при отличной компании. С Kia Carnival вы получите истинное удовольствие и от поездки, и от общения. Kia Carnival. Кроссвен на все случаи жизни.
Hello and welcome back to Music Replay, where I share lots of tips and tricks on home recording studio setup and how to improve your music making with technology. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to set up Zoom conference software in music mode. So if you want to teach online music lessons, run fitness classes, or set up a virtual choir or band, you need to set up Zoom properly. Otherwise, your audio stream will be choppy and your online classes or virtual musical get-togethers will not sound as good as they could. So this is a stripped down version of a video I uploaded recently where I also looked in depth at the recording hardware you might need to teach music lessons. I'll put a link below to that longer video if that's of interest. But here I'm just going to focus on the Zoom settings for music. I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel so you get to see all my videos on music making with technology and home studio setup. And it would also really help me out if you gave the video a thumbs up. Just before we look at the software, for the best audio quality in Zoom, I strongly recommend you use some kind of external microphone, whether it's a USB mic or a high quality headset or an audio interface. I shan't say much about the hardware here, but you will find links below to lots of guides I've written about selecting the best studio gear. And as I go through the Zoom settings for online music applications, I've assumed you'll be using some kind of external mic. But you still need to adjust the default settings, even if you're using your computer's built-in mic. So keep watching. Now let's head over to my screen and get our audio sounding amazing. Okay, so now we're going to have a look at how you use Zoom conference software in music mode. This means that if you're using Zoom for online music lessons, fitness classes, virtual choirs, orchestra, any application where music is involved, you need to make sure the settings are optimized for that music streaming. First of all, if at all possible, use your desktop computer or laptop to run your meetings or classes. Download the Zoom client for meetings onto your desktop or laptop. You navigate to zoom.us and navigate to the download section. And so get that installed. For best practice, make sure your computer is located as close as possible to your router for the best Wi-Fi signal you can get, or even better if you can, connect it up using an Ethernet cable and shut down all the other apps and notifications that you've got running in the background if you can, so that all your computer resource is concentrated on running Zoom as efficiently as possible, and also you're not going to get distracted by windows popping up and so on. Now we've got that all installed and our computer set up, let's open up the Zoom client. And when you open it up, you should come on the home screen. If you're not here, then you just need to click home here, and then you need to access the settings by clicking on this gear icon here. Okay, once you're in the settings, navigate to the audio tab here. Now this is where you select the correct speaker and microphone. Now the microphone is obviously the device that is going to transmit your speaking and playing, and the speaker is where you will hear the sound of your student or collaborators. Now at the moment I have got this set up so that I'm listening and playing through my interface, and if you remember, I've got my interface set up so that I've got my piano and my microphone going into a mixing desk that is then going to the inputs of the interface. So as I speak now, you can see that my voice is being picked up by the microphone. Now the first thing you will need to do is make sure you uncheck this box. You don't want Zoom to automatically adjust microphone volume. You want to have complete control of the volume yourself. Now on an interface, the controls you want. You don't want Zoom to automatically adjust microphone volume. You want to have complete control of the volume yourself. Now, on an interface, the controls for the volume, both output and input, are done via the interface, not via the computer control panel. So you'll see here that if I try and adjust these, then they will snap back because I'll adjust the volumes on my interface. Okay, now I can just check that this is all working because obviously it's picking up the sound of my voice. If I just play my piano, okay, you can also hear the sound of my piano, so that's being picked up too. Great. So that's the first important setting. What I'm going to do now is show you what would happen if I chose my USB microphone instead as my input and output device. Now I would hear my students or collaborators through the headphones attached to my USB mic. I got my USB mic connected, so again that is picking up my voice. Here I can adjust the volumes for the input and output. So I need to just play with these until I've got the optimum settings both for what I can hear and what's being transmitted. And you can test the microphone here and you can test the speaker to test the volumes. So far so good, we've unchecked that. Now let's go into the advanced settings. And this is probably the most important setting. Make sure you check this box here so that you show in meeting option to enable original sound. Now if you hover over that, you'll see it says this will turn off audio enhancements such as echo cancellation and noise suppression. And that's exactly what you want it to do. Those so-called audio enhancements are great if you're running a conference in a crowded office with air conditioning fans and people banging doors and scraping chairs and so on. But they're a disaster when you're trying to stream audio. You will find the audio signal chops in and out, and it just isn't the kind of good quality signal that you want. So make sure you check that box. Now, as a Belgian...
Baltimore. Why not? Понятно, нет, все вариант. Че, забирай меня уже, давай. Скорее, да пожалуйста. Нет, ну а в чем проблема-то? Фортепиано взял и уехал. Не знаю, вот это есть. Вот это еще уже много Ну ты согласен? Нет, что так жить нельзя. Чтоб тебя на работу брали, сразу же, да. Ну надо, как бы, я же не знал, что... Я думал, что так получится. Я даже, понимаешь, мне настолько насрать на других людей, что мне не интересно, что их интерес... Я, ну как бы, нет, интересы я понимаю. Ну ладно, да, понимаю. Как бы типа того. И потом, да, ну ладно, да, они за это деньги получают. За что? За галочки. Не знаю, за что они получают деньги, за что деньги получают. Да. Ну, я понимаю так, да. Ну, да. Ну, да. Да. Ну это громко, конечно, да. Ну да. Да, мы слышим чужой голос, слышим. Вот это вот нам хорошо. Алло, грязь, что там, нормально все, нет? Если вот так вот будет. Так вот хорошо будет, нет? Клип. посмотрим.
Braces thing, I like to disable the background noise, both the persistent and the intermittent here as well, so that I know that it's not going to do any playing around with the audio signal. I'm going to be transmitting exactly what I can hear in my interface or in my USB microphone. Okay, so now we've done those settings. When we begin a new meeting, we get a screen that looks like this. Always join with computer audio so that you're using your external microphone or your interface. Okay, now what you should see, this here, which says turn off original sound. When it says turn off original sound, that means that you are using the original sound from your interface or your microphone. That's exactly what you want. And you can click this down arrow here to make sure which device you're using. Now in this case I want to be using my interface, that's correct, so great. Now if we go down here, next to where it says mute on this microphone, there's an upward arrow, and you see you can always select a microphone and select to speak here. You can also test your speaker and microphone, and you can also access the audio settings from within the meeting as well, so that you can go, if you've forgotten something or it doesn't seem to be quite right, you can test them out here. That is how you go about setting up Zoom for music applications of any kind. It's now possible to use the original sound if you're running Zoom on your mobile device. So you do this slightly differently. If you open up the Zoom app and go to the settings icon and then click on meetings, you'll see that you can scroll down to where it says use original sound, and you can actually turn that on so that when you're running a meeting from your mobile device, you can use that original sound setting just like you can on the desktop. That will turn off the echo cancellation and noise suppression, and you'll get a better audio stream if you do choose to use a mobile device. Don't forget to communicate these settings to your students or collaborators so that they optimize their audio settings as well, by the way. Well, I hope I've covered everything you need to know about getting started with your Zoom software and getting it optimized for audio. Remember, questions, comments, suggestions, post them below. Please do like the video and do share it if you know anyone else who might be interested, whether they're fitness instructors, online music teachers, what have you. Finally, I post videos on home recording studio setup and music making with technology, particularly aimed at beginners. So do subscribe, and I'll see you.
For just $67, you can make as many videos as you want, and you never need to pick up a camera or use any fancy editing software.
an updated version of my ultra-popular Zoom in Music Mode video that I made earlier this year. That video explained how to adjust the audio settings in Zoom to make sure your music sounded as good as possible for your online music lessons, your online fitness classes, virtual choirs, and so on. Zoom is an excellent tool for running online events and teaching, but the default audio settings will play havoc with any music streaming. The noise suppression algorithms in Zoom will make your audio choppy and cut in and out, and so your students will not have a good experience. Fortunately, you can do something about this, and just recently Zoom added high fidelity music mode, so now you can get even better quality audio. Plus, I have addressed some of your frequently asked questions too. This video is divided into a few sections. Firstly, how to optimise all the audio settings for music in Zoom, including all the advanced tweaks and that new high fidelity music mode. How to share audio files from your computer. How to stream in stereo. How to access the settings on a mobile device. And finally, a quick look at the issue of latency in Zoom. Many people want to use Zoom for live jamming and collaboration. Unfortunately, this is not possible due to sync issues, but I do discuss a couple of resources and strategies you could use instead. I hope this will be a useful update for you. I post regular videos on home studio recording made easy, so if that is of interest to you, please subscribe, give the video a thumbs up if you find it helpful, and if you have any comments or questions, then do post them below. I love to read them and it helps me decide what content to produce next to help you out. Finally, I have written an in-depth step-by-step guide to Zoom in music mode on my website, so do check that out for further details. Okay, let's crack on and optimise that audio.
Это самый масштабный кризис в истории России. Прямо сейчас на торгах по банкротству продаются долги компаний и предпринимателей на 173 миллиарда рублей со скидкой до 95%. Пропусти это видео, если тебе не интересно, как покупать долги за копейки, взыскивать их законными методами и получать от 150 тысяч рублей в месяц. В России сейчас долговой кризис. 41% предпринимателей остановили бизнес и остались должны кредиторам. Банки теряют лицензии, а причитающиеся им кредитные долги выставляются на торги. Меня зовут Вадим Куклин, и уже 6 лет наша компания скупает дебиторские и кредитные долги на торгах по банкротству со скидкой до 95%, а потом взыскивает и получает деньги. Мы против коллекторов. Всю работу за нас делает судебная система. Если вы хотите получать от 150 тысяч рублей в месяц, без специального образования и без больших вложений, то прямо сейчас скачайте мой пошаговый план для старта в бизнесе на долгах. Из моей книги вы узнаете, где покупать дебиторскую задолженность за 1-5% от номинала, а потом получать по ней деньги или закрыть собственный кредит по нашей секретной схеме. В кризис долги растут как снежный ком. Кликните по кнопке и скачайте книгу, в которой я показываю.
Now remember that Zoom, out of the box with the default settings, is optimized for conferencing in noisy office environments. So it has lots of built-in algorithms to suppress fan noise and air conditioning noise, scraping of chairs, and to smooth out your voice as you speak in a conference environment, which is great if that's what you want to do. But if you want to use Zoom for a fitness class, or for a music lesson, or for any music application, then it will play havoc with your music stream and you'll find that it chops in and out. So we need to do some modification to the settings to get back control of our audio. Here's how we do it. So when you open up the Zoom desktop client, make sure you're on the home screen, and then you can access the settings here. Go down to audio here, and the first thing you'll do is set up your speakers and microphone, test them out, and so on. Now I would first of all uncheck this box here, automatically adjust microphone volume, so that I could get control of the microphone volume myself. Now here, the mic I have got selected, I can adjust the levels here. If you have an audio interface, then you adjust the settings on the device itself. So turn that off, get back control of your own levels. Don't worry about this suppressed background noise thing. Here we're about to override it by going into the advanced settings. Now you'll see the default is that echo cancellation is set on auto. Just leave that, because this is the crucial thing. This show in meeting option to enable original sound from microphone. If you hover here, this option automatically disables zoom, noise suppression, removes high-pass filtering, removes automatic gain control. It is recommended for playing music and for studio-like environments. Perfect. This is exactly what we want to do, and we check this box here. Now, just by checking this box and enabling original sound within the meeting, you will see. Perfect. This is exactly what we want to do for playing noise suppression.
Ну, я понял. Да.
Removes high-pass filtering, removes automatic gain control. It is recommended for playing music and for studio-like environments. Perfect. This is exactly what we want to do, and we check this box here. Now, just by checking this box and enabling original sound within the meeting, you will significantly improve your audio stream, because you will remove all the choppiness that you get if you don't do this. So that is going to be good enough for most people. Especially if you have a pupil who's playing to you, just make sure that they have done that, and then their audio stream won't be interrupted. But if you want to go further, then there are two more options. Let's have a look first at this one. This is a new one, high fidelity music mode. Okay, so if we check that. Now, I recommend that you check this if you are using good quality audio hardware, for example an audio interface or an external microphone. You can use it with your built-in microphone, but it's probably not worth it, although again you can experiment with this yourself. Now if we hover over here, you'll see that this optimizes Zoom audio for the highest quality music. So you'll get the highest quality setting by ticking this box here. Your audio will be transmitting at 48 kilohertz, and if it's stereo, it'll be 192 kilobits per second. So it is going to significantly improve the quality, especially if you've got the hardware to go with it, but it will increase your CPU utilization. So you will just have to be aware of that and be careful that you're not running software with too many plugins and really maxing out on your CPU. Keep an eye on that. The other thing is that it does consume greater bandwidth. The best situation is going to be if you have an Ethernet connection. If you are on Wi-Fi, you might find this will struggle more unless you've got very high quality Wi-Fi and you're quite near the router. The other thing you can do is you can disable echo cancellation. And again, I recommend you do that because it is fiddling with the sound again. The echo it's talking about is when you hear your voice echoing back at yourself when you're speaking. Generally, if you're hearing an echo, it means there is a device out there in your lesson or choir or whatever that is channeling your audio back to you, and so you will need to ask your users to look at their settings. It will work best, and if you look on this and hover over it, it says about a headset. What it means is it will work best if people are wearing headphones rather than hands, because it's having a speaker that is playing back your audio. It's then picked up by their microphone that is going to be doing the echoing. So a good quality set of headphones will improve that. But I would tick the box so that you've got full control of your audio. Okay, now then, let's start a meeting up. You'll see that every time you start a meeting, you will need to turn on original sound like that. And by turning on original sound, you will then benefit from those settings you have made in the audio settings. So you can access them anytime in the meeting by clicking the arrow here and going to audio settings and just checking what you've got set here. Okay, but by turning on original sound, you're accessing the high fidelity audio, the echo cancellation, the noise suppression, all those things. That now is you optimized for your audio stream. Right, while we're here, I'll mention...
То есть, вот просто мне интересно, как ты размышляешь, понимаешь, вот я так думаю. То есть ты хочешь сказать, что если женщина на мужское, ну, если как бы, ну, то есть, что если женщина живет мужскую жизнь, как бы, условно говоря, да, то есть от этого популяция выигрывает, да, даже если она там, да, понимает, да. Это просто, ну, понимаешь, такого быть не может, не должно, ну, не может такого быть и все, и точка. Даже если женщина что-то там думает или что, и кажется, что так нормально, неизвестно по каким причинам, да, понимаю, неважно. То есть, ну, вот так вот, да, понимаю. Тебе кто-то сказал, что здесь нормальное это население находится, и что-то, я не понимаю. Да, мне просто... Я вообще в целом, то есть ты как бы не размышляешь, что ли? Мне никто на работу просто не берет, понимаешь? Ну, мне как бы делать нехрен, да, я пока... Ну, нет, я ничего не... Я просто так думаю. Да, наоборот, я понял. То есть такого не бывает, понимаешь? Это, то есть отдельный индивид, может быть, оно счастливее, оно как-то. Может, у нее все нормально идет, что-то знает. Не касается это. Я не женщина, потому что мне, да. Я тебе сказал, как я знаю, но ты тоже знаешь, так что знай дальше себе, мне вообще плевать. Я просто все отдельно, потому что да, да. Ну, счастье, значит, так делается, что без мужских дел не обойтись, понимаешь? Ну да, и когда ты женщина особенно, да. Если женщина, то у тебя мужские дела прописаны, ну, или помощь мужским делам каким-нибудь. То есть, как бы тебе вообще занимать, то есть, как бы, да, понимаешь, да, то есть, я тебе точно говорю, что вот здесь это, понимаешь, да. Ну, обиженный судьбой, там, или что там сказал. Потому что, ну, а как ты будешь на это смотреть? Ты смотришь, я тоже привык к этому, это тоже выглядит нормально. А вдруг это не очень нормально, понимаешь? Ну, понимаешь, да. Я так тебе скажу, что популяция, ты думаешь, она выигрывает от этого, да? Потому что, понимаете. А потом некому, ну, суп с котом потом, понимаешь? Да. Вот, и самое смешное, что еще выяснится, что она женщина. Она-то думала, ее приучили думать, она-то думала, что он мужик, а оказалось, что она женщина, понимаешь? Потом под конец где-нибудь там, я не знаю. Ну, как на духу, как говорится, да. Оказалось, что она женщина. Просто она, да. Это я к тому, что, как бы, ты смотришь и кажется, что эти бабы, что они мужики, и что у них все нормально. Понимаешь? Тебе так не кажется, что ли? Ну, ты смотришь, и тебе кажется, что женщина, которая мужчина, вот она, вот женщина, ну, к примеру, это не в обиду. Как бы, там, то есть, это хорошо. Это не то, что это хорошо даже, понимаешь? И они тебе будут все время про это говорить. Понял, да? Ну, нет, да. Ну, я не могу просто... И ты так думаешь, а может как-то будет лучше в мире, если все будут на своих местах, или как-то... Я не знаю, как ты понимаешь. А мне какая выгода от этого, понимаешь? Вообще, как бы, гипотеза такая, да, есть, но это чисто так, да, не важно. Ну, нет, просто сами, да, понимают. Не знаю, наверное, сам, да. То есть про это вообще же никто не говорит, вообще, ну, европеоиды, потому что, да, с другой стороны, может кто-то что-то там, но их не видно. Ну, кто-то это может не говорить, но чувствует, но таких, как бы, их почти нету нигде, потому что они спрятаны где-то там, да, наверное, спрятались где-нибудь. Или кто-то их спрятал там, что, да, не знаю, да. Русский, вот я понял. А, ну, как сказал, не знаю. Ну, пусть даже так будет. Геоположение, геофизика обязывает, говорит. Ладно, да. Да. Вот, понимаешь. Ну, понимаешь, да, что пекло, я понял. Ладно. Ну да, настоящий неподдельно, ну ладно, поехали. Забудь, поехали.
Else? If you have audio files that you want to play, music tracks that you want to play within your meeting, then the way you can do that is by using this share screen option here. When you click that button, you'll end up on this basic mode here. And if you had a piece of software running that had got audio running as well that you wanted to share, then you could just simply choose share. You'd be sharing your screen and your sound. But if we go to the advanced setting here, it could be that you just have a music file you want to play, and you can do that by clicking this icon here. Now, by doing that, you will be sharing your computer audio, and what your participants will then experience is you speaking like this into a microphone, but when you press play, they will hear the computer sound, the track that you want to share. So that's how you share audio within Zoom. So let's stop the meeting there, because we have covered all the aspects that we need to do there.
For just $67, you can make as many videos as you want, and you never need to pick up a camera or use any fancy...
Идиоты, просто идиоты.
There. Right, I want to show you something else. If you want to enable stereo audio, then this is how you go about it. You need to go to the zoom.us website and sign in. So we're in the website now. You can't do this in the desktop client. You do this on the website. So I've signed in, and I go to account management here and account settings. Now when I am there, I get various options for how my meetings are going to run. And you'll see that if you scroll down, one of the options is to allow settings. Signed in, and I go to account management here and account settings. Now when I am there, I get various options for how my meetings are going to run. And you'll see that if it's signed in, and I go to account management here and account settings. Now when I am there, I get various options for how my meetings are going to run. And you'll see that if you scroll down, one of the options is to allow users to select stereo audio in their client settings. So what this actually does is allows you to select stereo audio within your desktop, which we'll have a look at in a minute. So turn that on if you want to use stereo audio. Now the other thing you can do is you can allow users to select original sound in their client settings. So you may want to do that if you have pupils who you would like to be able to direct to turn on original sound if they're going to play back to you. Okay, so now having done that, I'm actually going to restart Zoom. So I'm starting at the desktop client there. Now if I go to the settings here and go to the audio settings and go to the advanced, you'll see that a new option has appeared here under the show in meeting option to enable original sound. I can now use stereo audio if I want to. Now remember, this increases CPU utilization and consumes more bandwidth. A stereo file is twice the size of a mono file, and likewise a stereo stream is double what a mono stream is, but it does allow you to transmit in stereo, which you may wish to do. And so that is how you do it. First of all, you sign into the Zoom web portal and enable it there, and then it becomes an option within the client software here on the desktop. If you're using Zoom on a mobile device, then you will need to access the settings and make sure that you have enabled the option to use original sound. You'll find that every time you start a meeting, you will need to enable original sound each time. Unfortunately, on a mobile device, you don't have all the extra bells and whistles that you have in the desktop client, but it does enable you to at least get rid of all the choppy audio if you're using your iPad for a fitness class or something, or if it is your pupil who is using an iPad to play to you.
Добрый день! Я думаю, все мы хотим больше зарабатывать и принимать более правильные решения. Но также все понимают, что барьером для нас служат...
One of the questions I get asked a lot is how to use Zoom for live performance and collaborations. You see videos like this one all over the internet and want to do something similar. For instance, run a virtual choir or orchestra, play duets with your pupils, jam with your bandmates, etc. Unfortunately, you cannot do this in Zoom. Videos like this one look like Zoom, but they have been created by all the performers playing individually in advance along with a click track. Then the videos have been put together in a montage. In Zoom, there is too much latency, so if you try to perform alongside other people, you will be out of sync. This really disappoints people, but there are other strategies you can use to create a good experience in Zoom. In the description below, I've linked to a couple of videos which I think are excellent. Get Ready for Online Music Lessons is by a saxophone teacher with a lot of experience describing strategies he uses. For example, sending a backing track in advance that a pupil can play along to. The Zoom tutorial for choral conductors is quite lengthy but covers a lot of strategies you could use. Now, my own experience of participating in a virtual choir via Zoom is with the Nottingham Voice Collective run by Abby Moore. She is a brilliant arranger of a cappella versions of popular songs, which you can see in action on her YouTube channel. Once a month she's running virtual a cappella choir workshops at the moment, which are great fun to participate in. Her strategy is to create recordings of each part, the soprano, alto, tenor and bass, with the other parts partially muted, and then a recording of the entire arrangement. During the workshop she mutes all participants, then teaches each part using the sound files. At the end you perform the finished arrangement by singing along. You get all the experience of singing alongside other parts, and because you can see all the other participants joining in, you experience too, and this works really well as a singing experience. If in doubt, then do consider signing up and giving it a try. You'll find a link to her website below. It is a strategy that works well on Zoom, but obviously takes quite a bit of advanced prep. So the upshot is you can't do live collaboration in Zoom. But you can use other strategies.
Well, I hope you have found that helpful.
Как пора играть, да? Да, играть. Да, пора.
Hey everybody, Brandon Villarolo here for Tech Republic. Today I want to show you how to share documents on screen in a online Zoom meeting. So let's say you're the host of a meeting. Let's start a new meeting here. Click on that, boom, we're here. The meeting's kicked off. Okay, so now we're live, the meeting's online. If anyone else was going to join, now would be their chance to do so. Now if I want to share my screen, say I really don't want to have a direct meeting, what I want to meet with my coworkers about is more document-based, or I want to share a spreadsheet or a report or something, or whatever it is. You can go over here to share screen in the bottom, in the middle here. Click on that, and you'll see this window open up here. There's a few different options here. You can either do a basic share, which basically is going to allow you to connect to a mobile device. You can share a particular window. In this case, my Finder is open, and I can share that. A whiteboard, or you can share the whole desktop. So in this case, if you're looking like you've got a Word document open or a presentation or whatever, just click on desktop. You'll see you get a green line around the outside, your video window shrinks, and now you can see what's on your desktop as well as the share bar up top here. Go over to, let's say, Google Chrome. I've got a Google Drive or Google Doc open here. You can see that's open. Anyone else who's participating in the meeting will see essentially the same thing, along with my mouse moving and any changes I make or highlights, annotations. I can do all kinds of stuff like that, and all my participants will be able to see what I'm doing. So that's the easy way to do that. There is a more difficult way that I found.
Нормально, играй, нормально, значит, да. Ну вот это и есть то самое. Давай-ка я вот так вот сделаю, да? Zap me in. Where is the next?
And Zoom, if you go back to the share option, you may have noticed there's three options here. You can do an advanced where you're sharing a portion of the screen, content for camera, or just sound from the computer for like an audio file or whatever. Or you can go over to files and you can actually do it so that Google Drive or Box or Microsoft OneDrive, Dropbox or anything you can directly share files from there. I haven't seen a reason to do this over the other version. The screen on a second machine doesn't look any different. There's nothing I can tell that really makes it very different. The only reason I can see to do this is it's sort of an enterprise level thing where you want to grant access to certain files. So for example, I've linked my Google Drive here. If I double click on this, it'll open up a new Drive window in kind of Zoom's version of Google Drive. That's why it looks sort of weird and different. So let's say, for example, I want to go over here and open the same document I just had open. It was a project that I'm working on. So scroll down here, click on this, and then it's going to ask me when I single click on it to assign share links. So if you are working inside an enterprise, let's say, CBS. So if you were going to say visible throughout organization, you would want to put your enterprise domain tag, so either cbs.com or whatever it is. Otherwise, if you're using this as kind of an ad hoc thing with a team, it's not directly tied to the enterprise, or you're a small business who doesn't necessarily have a whole domain assigned to Zoom, you can just click on visible for all and then it'll work. Otherwise, it may not share the screen correctly. So if you're going to go this route, make sure you just click visible for all, unless you're chatting or having a meeting just with people on your enterprise Zoom for all. Otherwise, CBS. So our working to version, it'll open up a new drive window. So for example, I've linked my Google Drive here. If I double click on this, it'll open up a new drive window in kind of Zoom's version of Google Drive. That's why it looks sort of weird and different. So let's say, for example, I want to go over here and open the same document I just had open. It was a project that I'm working on. So scroll down here, click on this, and then it's going to ask me when I single click on it to assign share link.